want out of here. I'm not going to negotiate with you.
Well, obviously, the powers that be in this building, the mortal powers that be, I should say, have endorsed the Dante's frozen ninth circle of hell as opposed to the more traditional Christian fires of hell.
Yeah, well, he'll be supporting that once his water main pipes break for freaking a frozen building.
That is going to be the flooded frozen hell.
An insurance nightmare that he will not like.
Well, that did happen last winter.
Yeah, I know.
It's kind of like in Star Wars, building 2 Death Stars in a row when the first one's been blown up. The pipe breakings of last winter have not caused more heat to be distributed through this building this winter.
So we're looking at round 2?
It's kind of...
We may be. I mean, we might come in here for the show next time and find this place entombed. Again, like I say, Dante's ninth circle of hell.
Yeah.
Kind of icicles hanging from a nice or the ice planet Hoth. That's what we're faced with in here. The ice planet Manchester.
Now let's talk things all evil, right? Because that's what we're here about. All things evil and haunted.
Yes, and I'll interrupt you and say that this show this week, I had a couple of things in mind. Okay, I'll mention, but for the most part, let's just wing it. Because, especially because your show, Chuckle's Crypt, that leads into this one, we were discussing Star Wars, and I'll tell you, that time went by fast. It went by faster than almost any other.
Faster than the Millennium Falcon going into hyperdrive. Oh,
wow.
Glavin. Take that, Star Wars nerds. I do know I'm just stupid. Yeah.
Yeah, so I've thrown this show open this week. Obviously, we're going to talk about the new Star Wars movie. I would be remiss if I didn't. It's The Haunted Cabaret. It's all things horror, but there's enough elements of horror in Star Wars. It passes. We can talk about it on this show.
There's the number one villain in it.
Yeah, Darth Vader.
Don't get me started on Darth Vader.
I know. Let's not do that. Let's not rub salt in your wounds. Let's go to a story that I'm going to tell you guys that is equally as evil as Darth Vader, owning the Empire. Never mind the Emperor. He owned nothing but maybe a couple hemorrhoids caused by his lightning bolts. One of my insane asylums that I visited as a young lad, they kept me in the basement. Not a shocker. And one of the caretakers, this was really evil, told me that the heaters did not work and not to turn them on. So I am down in said basement in, I don't know, February, where it's 20 below outside.
The heaters don't work, but the gas does.
And it's 50 below inside this basement.
Literally, the floor was frozen.
Oh, yeah. And I am playing video games with wool gloves on, a wool blanket on, and a army sleeping bag. And when I went to sleep in my said room, I had to huddle up with probably about 20 layers of blankets. I looked like my bed belonged in one of the terrorist outlets that was in Islam. That's how many blankets were inside this area. So eventually I found out when I left said insane asylum and moved on to one that had heat, the guy that ran the thing told me that, the heaters worked fine. We just told you they were broken so you wouldn't waste our money. Now, if that is not evil...
That's evil.
I don't know what it is. Oh, yeah. Now, Mr. Jones is he remembers this insane asylum. These floors were frozen. Even the freaking cats would come down, swear at me, and run upstairs.
They would run across the floor, jump on the bed or onto the couch, or run straight upstairs.
I would be this is warmer crueler. Going outside than I was in my own bedroom. And on top of it, to make things worse, I would get transported in a Jeep that had no heat and then be stuck on a work assignment outside in minus below zero with no heat. So that's why I'm a cold-blooded, evil bastard.
And you still haven't figured out years later that you were not in the basement of an insane asylum. You were in a Soviet gulag.
I had to be because that crap was cold. Well, that's why.
Well, that's where we learned his necrophilic frozen refrigerator tendencies.
Or you just date a human furnace and it doesn't matter.
That's the whole reason why Nurse Misery and I hooked up for heat.
It's like, body heat.
I know what my fingers feel like. So when you're talking cold and stuff blowing up and evilness, I can relate.
This is a little bit off topic, but I have to confess that this past winter, which was in our region one of the worst winters on record.
Oh, yeah.
I went the bulk of the winter without heat in my automobile. Not because I couldn't afford to have it fixed, but just because I'm cheap.
Well, now this is coming back to haunt you. The powers that be said you don't want the damn heat in the automobile, then you're not getting any damn heat in the studio either.
That is evil.
You've learned to do a Mr. Freeze. You are thriving at sub-zero temperature. Fine. We'll just, our landlord has learned this, and this is why we're in the ninth circle of hell as we speak.
And I'm going to say this, too. There's no way hell is warm, because warm is comfortable. Cold is a whole nother layer.
Unless you're a Jew at Auschwitz, warm is comfortable. I mean, but I do know what you're saying.
Right. But even
when it comes down to it, cold burns worse than fire.
Right.
Yeah.
Even to a certain point, when you burn, you go into shock, and your brain just basically pops. But you can fall asleep in the cold and still feel the pain of that cold burning your freaking nerve endings off. And there's nothing worse than getting some little bastard behind you when you get on the bus that comes up to your nerve-endingly dead ear and flicking it. You could come up and slap my sunburn.
I'll tell you,
it's going to hurt, but
you came up with a very buried memory of my childhood. I think that happened to me just once.
Most people, it happened once, and that's enough.
He was really big. A big dude on the bus. And I've been, it's funny, now it comes back to me, right? I've been standing out in the cold on the corner waiting for the bus for like 15, 20 minutes because the bus was always late because the bus engine was frozen too.
Yep. And they never got there early.
Finally got on the bus, sat down. A few stops later, when I haven't thawed out yet, biggest dude ever to ride the bus gets on, walks by, zapping kids' ears.
What a douche.
He was.
I'm
that
sorry.
Guy's probably a cop now.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's either a cop or he's gone on an Arctic expedition and frozen. It depends if you believe in justice, which we, of course, don't.
It's probably an ACI guard.
Yeah.
That's even more painful than a cop.
Well, yeah, because they get to... Okay.
I wasn't going there, Mr. Goner.
This show we go those places where no one goes anywhere else. You know that, right?
Oh, so I know.
If you just Star Trek music.
Well, I just set it up and let you guys choose.
Star Trek. Okay, does that mean you want to talk about Star Trek for the next 45 minutes?
You can, but I will not be in this building.
Oh, yes, you will, because I'll duct tape you to that chair.
I thought that we were going to talk Star Wars.
We are, not Star Trek. If I wanted to talk about that, I'd get out my bedtime reading.
I thought remember, just like you brought to mind the memory of the zapped frozen ear, my first memory of Star Wars, now I was young at the time, but I was at the opening of the first produced, and by the way, that's how I suggested to Chuckles on his show, that's how I'm going to refer to the Star Wars movies, as not by these stupid titles, but I'm just going to, when I say the first Star Wars, I mean I'm going to refer to the first produced movie, which is now what they call A New Hope. But the first produced movie, second produced movie, if you get the idea. Okay, this way we don't have to worry about those 3 movies that suck, and we're calling them the first Star Wars movie because that's a misnomer.
How about the Christmas special Star Wars? Am I going to get stabbed for even bringing that up?
Whoopi Goldberg.
Was Whoopi Goldberg on it? Yeah. I don't remember.
Well, you can't remember.
That's probably something blotted from my memory.
Let me remind you. Watch the Chuckles and Laughs show right now, and that's airing.
Yes.
As a special
tonight at 10 p.m. on statewide Rhode Island.
I have no hatred in my heart for the Star Wars special. I really don't. That's like kicking a small reptile. You don't want to criticize that. It's not. Yeah, it's. I mean, somebody else would say it's like kicking a puppy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. It's just that's not something that you're going to get bent out of shape about.
Now the Ewok cartoon.
Anything. All right, let's stop right here. I let Ewoks be mentioned on your show because it was your show. I didn't just, we have donuts here for dinner. I didn't throw the donuts because it was your show when those creatures came up for discussion. We are not discussing them anymore on my show.
See, we are not
discussing. I didn't say you. I said it's
I know.
The end. No.
How about leprechauns?
We are not discussing. The only leprechaun we would discuss on this show would be the Leprechaun movies.
Because the one in the hood?
Because no, not the one in the hood. Chuckles, you know, we're gonna have a talk.
Well, I'm getting to a point here.
We're going to have a talk, and on our next episode, we may have a new Minister of Information. We may.
Oh, no. Who's it going to be?
I don't know, but we'll have a 2-person vote on it.
My baby boy.
Actually, maybe we better keep her.
Yeah.
You know, I'll tell you, there's bad, there's worse, there's
scary.
And there's absolute downright scary. Yeah, maybe we better quit while we're not so much ahead. And just, but
I'm very confused.
Well, it looks like for the time being you're staying, even though you insist on bringing these things up. That I don't want to hear those fuzzy little creature things.
All right, Popples.
There you go. Okay.
I did it
Critters.
when he asked me to on his show.
No, Critters considered fuzzy little creature things.
Technically,
yes. The little round ball critters.
Oh, yeah.
Absolutely not. Those are nasty.
Nasty.
But it's still a cute, fluffy thing.
No, hell no.
A cute, fluffy thing.
Those things
that eats you.
I don't know how we went from Star Wars to Critters, but that's not a topic I would shy away from.
Short,
absolutely
fluffy
not.
Things.
Critters can be, okay, but I'm not sure they're fluffy.
They have some sort of fluff.
They have some kind of fur.
They are a fur ball.
Oh, nasty, nasty little bastards. That's one of those movies where all three of them were enjoyable.
That redeemed Gremlins. You know, because I watch Gremlins, and like most Steven Spielberg movies, there's like 2 or 3 that I think are good. Gremlins wasn't one of them. I mean, it had a couple of moments you say, okay, that's cool. You know, when they shoot the old lady through the window. For some reason, I like seeing handicapped people being abused and killed. That's just
all right. Well, we're off
that's
the air
one of my
now.
little
Thanks.
fetishes.
Good luck. Good listening, guys. Thank you.
Send all complaints to George Garner.
And I am not Chuckles the Clown. I am Chuck D. Clown.
And this isn't Rhode Island Free Radio. You're listening to WBOB.
Listen, I didn't do this on my own. This is Tobe Hooper's fault. I saw Chainsaw Massacre, the original, the real one, at an impressionable age. That's all I can say. and the loudmouthed idiot in the wheelchair was wheeling his way through the Texas landscape at night, and Leatherface revved up that chainsaw, stuck it into the chest of that wheelchair-bound idiot, and ever since then, I just think it's really cool that. See, what I like about it's called breaking taboos. You know, in other words, it's not politically correct. I like things that are not politically correct. And chainsawing a guy in a wheelchair or catapulting an old woman through a window in a family film.
Definitely not a PC moment.
No. So, and that was Steven Spielberg. I didn't do this.
It's equal opportunity.
All I'm doing is appreciating what's being shown to me.
There you go.
Yeah, I'm not to blame.
We were just covering our cases, just in case.
Oh, absolutely.
Just in case.
We live in a very litigious society. There's no question
and I'm
about
Pal,
it.
and this is.
All right. By the way, everything said on this show is for entertainment purposes only.
Entertainment purposes only.
I don't have that deep authoritative voice going today, but it is. Yeah, we're just kidding.
See, first I have to finish law school, then I have to pass the bar. We can't put all these lawsuits on the back burner for like another 3 or 4 years. It's just not possible.
Well, like one of my role models would say to all those out there listening, why so serious?
Right. Well, we can basically see, and now like Tony has divulged, we can be a little bit indulgent in these matters because we do have. Well, I won't say a practicing lawyer on our staff, the lawyer being Tony Jones, not yet, but he's come quite a ways in law. Tony, where are you when it comes to law school now? You can pretty much defend us at this point from just about anything, can't you?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay, good. All right, so we're good to go. All right, so like I said, chainsawing the handicapped. Fun. Let's get back to the... you can't make these segues up, as we say almost every week.
Oh, no.
Let's get back to the music. When Steel and Bone Meet. Goat Whore here on the Haunted Cabaret on Rhode Island Free Radio.